Hey everybody, it's Amanda Christine here coming at you with another video. In this video, I will talk about obsessive compulsive disorder, aka OCD, and how it pertains to my life. Basically, obsessive compulsive disorder is a common, chronic, and long-lasting disorder in which a person has uncontrollable, reoccurring thoughts, which are obsessions, and/or behaviors, aka compulsions, that he or she feels the urge to repeat over and over and over again. And the signs and symptoms commonly associated with OCD could, involve obsessions, as I mentioned earlier, which are repeated thoughts, urges, or mental images that cause anxiety. Common symptoms include fear of germs or contamination, unwanted, forbidden, or taboo thoughts involving sex, religion, or harm, aggressive thoughts towards others or self, having things symmetrical or in perfect order. And then the compulsions are repetitive behaviors that a person with OCD feels the urge to do in response to an obsessive thought. Common compulsions include excessive cleaning and or hand washing, ordering and arranging things in a particular precise way, repeatedly checking on things such as repeatedly checking to see if the door is locked or that the oven is off, and compulsive counting. And that doesn't mean, that everybody who does this has OCD. It becomes like a problem if it interferes with your everyday life, whether it's your social life or work life. If it hinders that, then it could be a problem. So basically, when I was really young, as I talked about in my other video, I was diagnosed with pervasive developmental disorder, not otherwise specified, PDD NOS, as a just before months before I entered preschool. And I don't recall whether this was at the same time or anywhere near when I was diagnosed with PDD NOS, but I know I was very young when I was diagnosed with obsessive compulsive disorder. And basically, as as a youngster, I read, as I discussed regarding, OCD symptoms, I would rearrange things in a particular order. I would have like I would organize the sock drawer when I was like 4 or 5 years old. Like I would be that neat and orderly. I would also there were a couple occasions when I was preschool age that I locked my parents out of the house because I was checking on the locks, making sure that the doors were locked and that sort of a thing. And I everything had to be just so. And I remember when I entered grade school age, I basically had to my writing had to be perfect. And basically, if I didn't like how I wrote a word or wrote a letter, I would erase it. And apparently, I would erase everything so much that I would create holes in the paper because I was erasing so much. So homework would take longer than it should have. And it took a while for me to like snap out of that sort of habit. Like, along with cognitive behavioral therapy is something that could also be used for obsessive compulsive disorder, not just autism. So I believe cognitive behavioral therapy definitely helped me snap out of certain habits. I mean, obviously, to this day, I still organize things in a particular way. In a particular way, everything has to be like just so and straightened to according to me, like to my standards. It has to be a certain way, and I mean that goes with like replenishing things as well. For example, at my current job, whenever we sell like a bag of popcorn or multiple bags of popcorn, eh, I see that the cardboard case that we keep the popcorn in for display. When I see it needs to be restocked, I immediately want to do it, and sometimes one of my supervisors will say, you don't need to, fill it in all the time. And I know it's just a habit. I tell them, and the person typically knows, supervisor typically knows that it's just in my nature to do so. I mean, I know I can be more relaxed about certain things, but it's easier said than done. I mean, and going back to a scenario I talked about in my last video regarding, hypothetical customer service situations, like in my head, unless you're completely set up and like you've done, things to prepare for customers, basically, putting the table together, putting the tablecloth on the table, putting the popcorn out for display for people to see all the flavors, setting up the till, setting up the POS, and making sure that the card reader is connected via Bluetooth to our POS or iPad, whatever. I feel like if those things aren't done before a customer approaches wanting to buy or pay for the popcorn, I just feel like we're not ready. And maybe that's how it is in my that's how it is in my mind. And but in the customer service world, in the retail world, as like another one of my supervisors has said, we're ready enough to operate as we are, the whole never turn away a customer sort of thing, which of course is never, my intention to do so, I mean, I personally feel there's nothing wrong with saying give me a minute, you're just telling the the person to hold on. You're not telling the person to come back in a minute or so. You're not telling the person to you know, you know, we're not ready, can you come back later? We're not doing that. I mean, I'm not doing that. But certainly, everybody has their different view on things. And I guess, in that regard, I have to learn to be more flexible. That it yeah, for one, it may not be the proper thing to do for a customer to come up to a stand seeing that, we're still putting stuff together. It may not be the proper thing for them to like want to buy something before it appears we're ready. But like I said, in the retail world, in the customer service world, you have to cater to the customer. And like if they're interested, even asking about the price of the product, you do have to help them. And for me, I think I just need to learn to delegate more, like, instead of trying to do everything myself, just, tell somebody, whether it's, one of my supervisors or one of my coworkers, one of my equals, I should just say, hey, could you help me out with this? Or could you stock this here while I help the customer? And, again, if the customer, wants to pay, and, you honor that request. But of course, the first question for me would be, are you paying Are you paying in cash? Or, that sort of a deal. Because if the POS is not up and ready to go, you can really only do cash transactions. Yes, so, I mean, obviously, if they say cash, you honor that request, you take the payment. And for somebody like myself, I don't necessarily need a POS to tell me how much change to give back. So I would just, you know, they buy a product that's $8, they give me a 20. Yeah, I give them $12 back. So yeah, so that's simple enough there. However, if they do say, can I pay with card, or I only have card on hand, then that's when you would have to tell the customer, just let me check the card reader, check the POS to see if we can do that for you. Or, you can even tell them in that instance, you might have to give us a minute to make sure it's working. So yeah, I mean, there are ways to do it, even with the conditions that you have, whether it's OCD, whether it's autism, whether it's a combination of things. I will say that, there is a thing, regardless of a person being special needs or not, you do have to be, customer service friendly. You have to be polite. You have to be civil. And, say in a polite way, yes, we could do this. Yes, we could do that. Just, give us a minute. Or, yes, I could do that. I could process this payment for you now. It's a cash payment. We could do that. So yeah, so that's going to basically wrap things up. OCD doesn't really impact my life as much now as it did when I was much, much younger. So this video is not really going to be a lengthy one. So I'm going to end it here. And thank you for those who decided to check this video out. And I will see you another time. Bye.